So you've just finished AP seminar. What next? AP research. So today, as a former AP research student, I'm going to tell you what you to expect in this class and how you can be successful. So, what do you already know? Since assuming you guys have come from AP seminar as a prerequisite for AP research, you likely know how to evaluate sources, analyze arguments and multiple perspectives, develop research questions, build a thesis, and present ideas. And a general skill you likely have from this is also being able to synthesize essays and reports over all these years. So, what is the purpose of AP research? You're going to be answering a gap that no one has identified before. That means a certain aspect of research that hasn't been touched on before in existing literature. Improving your writing and presentation skills will also be a key part of AP research. You will also have an improvement in all of your general research skills that will be very important for the future, and you will improve your critical thinking skills in this process. So, what will you do in AP research? You're going to choose a topic, preferably something you're passionate about, as it's going to be a topic that you stick to for an entire year. So, this will be a very important decision because depending on whether you enjoy it or not, it will make the research either more painful or an enjoyable experience. You will explore several themes within your topic before you narrow it down to a particular aspect that you wish to look into further. And you need to keep in mind that you have roughly 9 months, according to my calculation, to perform your entire research. So choose your topic accordingly. Obviously, don't choose something that's like outer space study of like some faraway galaxy that would take millions of years to look into. Like, it's 9 months, so choose accordingly so that you're actually able to conduct all your research within the allotted time. Obviously, as I was saying, you're going to do some preliminary research. That will be where how you explore the several themes. So you'll just look into existing, just preliminary. This is not like the main research, but this would just be like looking into the topic just to see and brainstorm what you could look into. And this would help you find that gap that I was mentioning earlier. And then you also, throughout AP research, you're going to gradually draft the sections and parts of your paper, which include the introduction, literature review, methodology, results, analysis, conclusion, and your abstracts. And this is the order that you will be writing them in the year, but the only difference in actual ordering when you create your paper will be the abstracts at the top. Obviously, the reason that you're not doing abstract at the start of the year is because an abstract is supposed to be an overview of your paper. Hence, they do the abstract all the way at the end of the year. And you also make various mini presentations throughout the year based on your research. Like, I believe there's a results presentation, a methodology presentation, I believe, as well. Maybe one other one, but you will just be presenting those different parts as you do them throughout the year. So you're slowly compiling your paper throughout your research process. So what will be expected of you? As I mentioned earlier, you're going to select a topic and you're going to conduct preliminary research on it, and then you will choose a compatible methodology to go along with that. Obviously, different types of research will require different types of methodologies, so it's good to experiment with that. And there's a part of the year where you will go through a list of the different research methods and define the pros and cons in terms of how it will work with the topic that you've chosen. And then you also fill out a very long form, yeah, you will fill out a very long form that have various different components about how you'll conduct your research and what methodologies you will use, and then you will need to gain ERC approval. ERC just stands for the Ethics Review Committee, and they will need to approve your research before you can continue on with the rest of it. Most people will gain that ERC approval, but again, if you get rejected, then you end up just needing to make a couple of changes before you can proceed. And after that, you will formulate various research plans throughout. Many of those mini presentations I was talking about do discuss like what are the next steps, what's my timeline. There will be a lot of timelines that you create throughout research. So those will be your various research plans of how I'm planning to do this. And of course, methodology does define a lot of that research plan as well. And then you'll collect your data and obviously analyze it and find the significance of how that data connects to whatever you hypothesized in your research, and then you'll present your findings through many presentations. And you will also, throughout the year, be writing your final research report, which is a component of your AP research exam score. As there's no actual AP research exam, your score is dependent on your final research report and conducting your POD. And your POD stands for presentation and oral defense, which will be your culminating presentation all the way at the end of the year, where for about 10 to 15 minutes you will be presenting what you found throughout all your research to a bunch of panelists. How do you ensure your success in AP research? Keep yourself focused. Use your class time wisely. You are given a lot of class time to dedicate towards work in AP research, and that is a very good environment in which I would recommend making good progress on your research, and also having your peers as well as your teacher there who can answer any questions that you have and help you be more efficient with your time. And I would also dedicate some consistent time outside of class, so instead of procrastinating, you are able to maybe allot 30 minutes a day towards AP research, just so it doesn't seem overwhelming, and that you're able to get a lot done over time, and that it's not one of those things where you touch the project and then you don't touch it for the next month or so, and then you've forgotten half the things that you were doing on it. So it's good to keep that consistent schedule to keep yourself on pace, and also be adaptable to any unexpected changes. Since it's such a long research project, there's a lot of roadblocks and limitations and obstacles you'll come across, and you need to make sure that you remember you need to work around those, and that you can't be rigid in the way of what methods you choose, etc., etc. Like I was mentioning earlier, the ERC approval, if you don't get ERC approval, you have to adapt and change your methodology, and etc., etc. So just keep in mind, you may be running into a lot of situations where you might turn and make a pivot towards a different approach just because one approach is not working. So what will be the final result of your AP research class? You will have made a well-developed research paper of around 4,000 to 5,000 words, give or take. Obviously, some might be under, some might be over. You will have refined your research conducting skills, and as I mentioned earlier, you will have a final 10 to 15 minute presentation that you've created of your findings. And that concludes this video. I hope this was helpful, and good luck on AP research.